So, there's been rumours around about a updated version of PlayStation 4, which has been codenamed PlayStation 4.5 or PlayStation 4K. Now, basically the situation is that it's not been confirmed, but there's been a lot of rumours going around, and this PlayStation 4.5 is meant to have much more powerful internal components, which will help support 4K resolution for video games, and also be more powerful at handling the upcoming virtual reality PlayStation VR. The rumor is that it's going to be released at the end of this year, or announced at the end of this year. So it's, again, very much a rumorville, but what is your thoughts on an upgraded PlayStation 4 at this stage?
I think it's very similar to a mobile phone upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's good if it's done correctly and you notice that enhancement, and if it's done for free. However, I also think, have they held stuff back? And that's my worry, that they've developed it and then they knew that it's not been long since release, but have they held it back?
Usually around about this stage, we're 3 years into the PlayStation 4 cycle, about 4 years in, we usually get a slim version.
Yeah.
Now, apparently this is not a slim version, it's exactly the same look.
Okay.
Don't look any different. It's literally just an upgraded version. Now, obviously in previous generations they've always done upgraded versions. When they've done a slim version, it does actually have upgraded components, but not to a point where it's basically can do more. It's just usually cheaper components at the same power level of what they were previously, or better manufacturing. For example, on PlayStation 4, I believe the first batch of PlayStation 4s had a drive issue. And it happened to me. I had my PlayStation 4 for a week and had to send it back and get it replaced because the disc drive broke. And so a lot of the new PlayStation 4s, I think after the first lot had been manufactured, had a different disc drive put into them, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But, so it's nothing new upgrades, but this is going to be an actual standalone upgrade PlayStation 4.5. My only concern is that they're going to basically be shooting previous first adopters in the foot. Well, first adopters in the first 3 years. They might be splitting the market, because PlayStation 4, Sony are way ahead of Microsoft at the present moment. They are pulling ahead around about 2-1 sales at this present moment, if the numbers are predicted correctly. So they're pulling ahead. They don't really need to do anything. They're doing very, very well. My concern is they're basically biting people in the ass for getting early. And my worry is as well for game developers having to create, in a way, 2 versions of a game. So you're creating for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4.5. Well, I guess with PC versions, they always have to release a game which has multiple layers of format due to different graphics cards. But that was the advantage of consoles. Yeah. You bought one console alone, and then you just bought the games. And it kind of goes in a situation, well, the reason why consoles do very well is because they're very simple to buy. You buy the PlayStation, you buy the Xbox. Again, that idea of buy one console. A lot of the PC gamers know that the difference is you have to get the CPU, you have to get the graphics cards, RAM, sound card, video card, all those all the components come into it. But if your relative, your mother or father who might not be into technology as much, is going to buy their son or child a PlayStation, they can easily, say this is kind of stereotyping, but they can easily get confused. Well, do I get the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 4.5? What's the difference? Oh, there's £200, say, price difference. Well, I'm going to go for the cheaper one. But that then child's not going to receive the full experience. So it's it's edging towards the PC market situation and pulling away for what traditionally consoles had. Do I think it's a bad thing? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because it's good that we might be able to get a more overall experience, especially for PlayStation VR, just for myself. Because if the 4.5 came out, then I probably would pick up the 4.5 and put it on PlayStation 4, mainly because I always want the better piece of technology coming out, which business standpoint would work great for Sony. But
as a consumer who's doesn't want to upgrade, are they feeling they're getting the bad end of the deal?
Yeah, because the problem is you're reducing the life of the PS4 to then they're essentially saying they might as well call it PlayStation 5. You know, whether they call it 4.5, 4K, or however they word it. To your point is you will buy it because you want
The next best.
next thing.
So I get you did make a really interesting point earlier about phones. They always release new phones, but we don't really question it anymore. But with buying a phone, you're always on a contract.
Yeah.
And then the idea, but you're only paying small amounts, and you don't feel that burn as much as you normally would if you bought an new iPhone, for example. It's going to cost you £650, £700 outright.
But what they do is they release an iPhone and then a iPhone. So it'll be like an iPhone 5 and then another one. And that's my point of like, I hope PlayStation don't go down that route because you're just churning through consoles a lot quicker. And on face value, you say, am I really getting value for money by upgrading to a 4.5 console? No, but I've been penalised for buying it early. The PlayStation 4. You know, and that's to my point of like, if they held back in anticipation of releasing a 0.5, I think that's wrong. But the problem is, the more people buy into it because they want the brand new, that sort of creates that culture then. Whereas if people boycott it and go, I stand by that, why have you done that? You've never done it before. It should be PlayStation 4. Because PlayStation, like to your point, the PlayStation 3 Slimline, it was a style. If you wanted a Slimline,
Well, you look at the original PlayStation 3, it was like a tank.
Yeah, but and also there was issues with PlayStation 3. I think they had like a certain life, and then they broke. I think people went 2 or 3 different, same console, but they were just buying it again because it broke. That fine, and if you wanted to change the Slimline, you didn't have a choice because it was breaking.
I guess it was because it was like still the PlayStation 3 but slim version, and there was different components in it to make it not break as easily. We didn't really think of anything of it because it was still the PlayStation 3.
Yeah,
but I think having this next
4.5,
it's not a good marketing aspect. I think I don't think it's the right time just yet.
No.
And the reason why I think it's happening now is with PlayStation VR literally on the horizon. And if this announcement is happening at the end of this year and PlayStation VR is coming at the end of this year, I could see it in the shops by Christmas.
Yeah.
And the question is then, at that point, are they going to discontinue doing the PlayStation 4?
No, they won't discontinue it. But to your point, I think, which is really valid, is are they going to have to release essentially 2 PlayStation 4 games and just slight differences?
Ignore the ringing, that's my cat.
Because then I will always question. So, for example, a great game that I love is Witcher. But it's renowned for its glitches a bit. Had I got that on a PlayStation 4.5 or whatever
Would
reason,
the frame rate be higher? Would there be not as many bugs? Would the glitch pop-ins, for example?
Yeah. And so on that respect, I would then go, okay, I'm getting frustrated now. But because I only have a PlayStation 4, I sort of accept it that there is going to be glitches, bugs. But it's always not knowing that if you get
it's the problem is with me, it's kind of forcing the people who are used to this ease of buying one console into the PC market of this. Well, there's multiple versions now, which I think it's that I can see the market heading that way now, where we're going to have upgradable consoles. I can see it going that way.
I've upgraded my hard drive. For example.
You've done that. I know the Steam machines were meant to be that sort of idea, but was never really fully pushed because the discussion of more powerful consoles is nothing new. The head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, told press earlier this year that Microsoft were considering making the Xbox going to be more upgradable. Upgradable generally. And the idea would be that you'd be able to sell add-ons and you'd be able to put add-ons onto your Xbox to make it more powerful. So this is something not just isolated to PlayStation. This is something which is across the board with a lot of the console companies. They are considering this idea that they are being created and being left behind very quickly by PCs. And whether or not it's a little bit of pressure by publishers and developers, saying like, well, for example, just purely example, if EA turns around to Sony and Xbox and say, listen, we can create an even more photorealistic Battlefront on PC. And we know we can push the boundaries really, really easily on PC and make it look even more fantastic on PC. You guys have been left behind. Like, we can create a much better experience on PC. And whether or not they are possibly getting a little bit of pressure from publishers and developers saying, listen, your consoles are already old. You need to start doing something about it. And that's where I think this upgradable system possibly might be coming in.
Yeah. There's one thing, though, with a PC is you don't upgrade the PC, you upgrade the parts. And that's the difference. You don't buy a standalone PC every time you want to upgrade.
True.
Or sometimes, but rarely. A lot of the time, it's a component change. Now, if PlayStation said you only have to buy this component and it will upgrade it, and it's a fifth of the price,
you've got a PlayStation 4. If you want to make it a 4.5, buy this graphics card, pop your other graphics card in, done. You've now got a 4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that it'd be frustrating, but at the same time, I could get on board with, because, like you said, there's an appreciation that you do the same with the PC. However, if they're asking me to buy a standalone console with the full upgraded parts, and how much of them parts actually have been upgraded in there, and how much have been just taken from the PlayStation 4, I don't know. I'm not that close to it, but then my PlayStation 4 becomes obsolete and I've got to sell it. That I don't think's right. Parts, fine.
In conclusion, it will be interesting to see how the market takes this and how the audience receive this information, because it's going to be tricky, and it's how Sony are not very well known for approaching their consumers very, very well, or marketing it very, very well for their products. Vita, PSP, PlayStation 3. They've got it wrong a few times. They're doing really well with PlayStation 4. Let's just hope they don't mess it up now.
Yeah, just think about just then as well. Sorry, I always notice the difference. So if you look at PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2, you've got the jump. You can see it's graphically there's a massive difference. PlayStation 2 to 3, get it again. You can see it even straight to 4. If you don't see that jump, but they're still asking you to pay for an extra console, you'll look at those stages and then it'll
little jump.
And
it's that money. It's all about
and you'll. I don't feel like you'll get value for money off it, and I think that's where the gripe will be with it.
So, throwing it out to you, the question: would you be interested in picking up a PlayStation 4.5 or a 4K? Please leave your comments in the box below. I'd be interested to see what everybody thinks about this, because I'm kind of a little bit on the fence with it, and the feeling you're on the fence but against it a little bit as well. It's kind of we're a bit all over the place. So, yeah, please let us know what you think in the comments below.